whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people. Whose car are we gonna take?
Thanks for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. I hope your day is going well. Only a few more shows in this time slot. Another reminder, we're going to keep the reminders going. So all of you that like to join us live won't be caught off guard when you try to catch this show at noon and it's not there anymore. So just a reminder, my show starting on Tuesday, August 1st, is moving to 9 to 11. Start around 9, end around 11. You know how it is. And it's going to be more of a morning show. It'll probably stay kind of the same format that you guys love. We'll be adding some different topics in as it progresses. And hopefully more of you will be able to join us live, because I know so many of you, I would say 3/4 of you, watch the show on replay because it just doesn't come at a time in which you can watch it live. So hopefully the morning show, 9 to 11, will be good for you guys. Then it's Mark Thompson. And then, of course, Kim McAllister and John Daly are going to be doing a 1-hour after party show after Mark Thompson from 1 until 2. There's the website, theafterparty.live, theafterparty.live. And I think she's less than 100 away from getting the 1,000 that she needs. So she's totally going to get it. They'll be able to go live again, starting a week from yesterday, Tuesday, August 1st. All right. So today's show, it's going to be a good one. So we'll touch, of course, on the latest regarding the Hunter Biden no longer plea deal. They're going to have to come back in a month or something. You know, I heard one analysis say they got a little too cheeky writing up this plea deal, and that's why the judge had such a problem with it. I'll show you the video. Something happened to Mitch McConnell. He was at a press conference and he froze and he never talked to the press really that much again. So we'll have a little bit of that. And let's just see how much Fox News and the GOP focus on Mitch McConnell's health. Maybe they will. Now he is up there in age. But, you know, if this was Joe Biden, they would have stopped the frickin' presses to call for, you know, the 25th Amendment or what have you. Netflix offering up quite the salary for AI jobs, of course, as this actors and writers strike continues. $900,000 up to. That's the salary Netflix is offering. Don't tell me you don't have any freaking money. And Snoop Dogg has kind of given his thoughts recently. This was in the past month or so. But he's showing solidarity. He's canceled his shows at the Hollywood Bowl in solidarity with the striking actors and writers. And I'll play you a little bit of a speech he gave just recently within the last couple of weeks in support of the striking artists and why he's like, look, this new world that we're living in, it doesn't make sense for artists. And I love it. A lot of people are joining in on the strike, and we'll go through those just a bit. I wanted to get to this story, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Kind of about different types of substances, whether it's weed, wine, non-alcoholic beer. The non-alcoholic beer story we didn't have time for yesterday, but Kristen Bell, she's married to Dak Shepard. They're both actors. They let their kids drink non-alcoholic beer. Apparently, Dak Shepard has his own brand. He's a recovering alcoholic. His non-alcoholic beer has 0 alcohol. Some non-alcoholic beers have like a tiny, tiny percentage, but his has 0, according to Dak Shepard. And they let their kids drink non-alcoholic beer. Kevin Durant, talking about weed, he's urging the NBA commissioner to take weed, marijuana, off the banned substance list, comparing it to wine. And so I want your take on both of their stances regarding different types of substances. And I want to hear stories from you. Did your parents kind of let you do stuff before you were legally allowed to? Were you allowed to drink at home? Were you allowed to smoke cigarettes at home before you were like 18 years old? And do you think it was a good thing? Because there's this mentality, I think, among some parents where, well, they're going to try it anyway. So I might as well have them try it at home where I know they're safe. Do you subscribe to that kind of belief system? I want to touch on parenting in general. These first month nannies. I want to get to this story. It was in the Chronicle. It's fascinating how much people are paying for nannies nowadays. And Fox News host Jesse Waters has a segment where he calls his mom, who's a total Democrat. Like, she's so liberal. And I'll play the video. It was quite funny. This was last week, though, so we're just getting to it. But it's quite the thing to see. We have a number of videos you guys are going to want to check out. So if you're listening on the podcast, you'll want to go back to YouTube so you can check some of these out. The UFO hearings are nuts. Have you guys been listening to this? I mean, they have said, yes, aliens, like what you're thinking of, X-Files, these flying objects that can do what we don't have the capability of doing. And it's just fascinating. I'll play you a couple of clips from that. How many of you seen the clip of the woman butt naked on an Oakland freeway shooting at people? Nuts. I mean, it is headlines like that I totally understand why people talk crap about the Bay Area. I really do. Jamie Foxx has given his first video update. We'll touch on that. And the reason I want to touch on it is, things can come out of left field. You're just walking along and all of a sudden something like what may have happened to Mitch McConnell, get in an accident, something happens health-wise to you, like with Jamie Foxx. And what do you do and how do the people around you rally? I'll play you what Jamie Foxx had to say. And then there's a story that was covered by the Today Show of this wife. She's in her mid-20s and her husband gets into this awful accident. What she does for the rest of her life for this husband is something that I admire. And I don't know how many people would be able to do this, but I mean, I am just in awe of this family. And then finally, we'll end the show. This crazy story out of Colorado where they found those 3 decomposed bodies. And now they're kind of giving more details on what they think happened to this family. And Burning Man has a message to those that are coming with their e-bikes. Don't be a dick is basically the message. And I want to hear from any of you that have ever been to Burning Man and what exactly life is like, getting off the grid at least for a week. It's I think Burning Man starts a month from tomorrow. So I'd love to hear some stories if you guys want to share it. I'm also going to put the link to the show and we'll do it periodically. The link right now is being put in there. If you guys want to ding in and be on the show, you can do that. Just click that link and we'll bring you on. But before we get to any of that, you guys know the drill. Click the thumbs up button. That thumbs up button just once. Don't click it over and over again. It does nothing. Just once. Make sure it's on. The thumbs up. It helps the show. The super chat is also live. I always appreciate all the generosity that you guys have with this show. Being here each and every day is huge for me and Kim. And so if you want to donate to the show, the super chat is live. Just look for the $sign and you can throw us a super sticker, a super thanks, a super comment, which we will read if it's live and we're doing the show live. We do go back and read the comments though. So don't think that your comments aren't being read. They absolutely are. And then please consider joining our cool club, the Medorables. Become an official Medorable. I was going to put this on my social media page. I'm also looking for some design ideas for a new t-shirt, a Medorables t-shirt, or a button. I'm brainstorming some ideas. I'm not the most artistic person. I have some people in my personal life that have given me some ideas, but if any of you have any ideas, let me know. I'll totally promote you on the show because I'd love to have a Medorable something for especially all of my Patreon subscribers. If you want to be part of the cool club, please do. It is literally the main way we keep this show going, and we can't keep it going if it's not financially feasible for us to do so. So you can donate any amount. It's once a month, just one payment a month. So think of it like a tip, a monthly tip, one time. Just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. Sign up to become a Patreon subscriber. And if you're able, only if you're able, if you could bump up your donation every month That would help us out so very much. Also, if you go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, our PayPal link is there. The email to reach me is thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. And then you can also pick up some merchandise, which is where I want to post my Medorable stuff at thenikkimedoroshop.com, shop, SHOP.com. Okay, let's get into the show. All right, we have to touch on Hunter Biden. Now, and the reason why I really want to touch on Hunter Biden is, well, one, it is huge news that the plea deal has kind of crumbled. There's no longer a plea deal. It ended today. The judge in the case said she was not ready to accept this revised plea deal between the DOJ, the Department of Justice, and the president's son. Apparently, the judge raised serious questions about the agreement reached with prosecutors. This is what U.S. District Judge Mary Ellen Norica said. She said, is this even constitutional? This was the proposed agreement to resolve Biden's gun possession conduct. She added that she has, quote, concerns about the constitutionality of the gun deal because it might violate separation of powers principles. Now, you guys know the felony charge is around alleged false statements Hunter Biden made on his application to purchase the gun, in which he affirmed falsely that he was not using drugs at the time. Now, under the proposed deal, Biden would enter into a diversion program to resolve the gun charge if he, of course, follows certain conditions. The judge said she was trying to exercise due diligence and consideration to make sure we do not make a misstep. Here, this is important because what happens is they could appeal it. If there's any mistakes here, if they got too cute, you can get an appeal. And she obviously wants to dot her I's and cross her T's and everything like that. The judge says, you're all telling me to just rubber stamp the gun deal, but the deal is not straightforward and contains atypical provisions. There was no power to approve or reject the tax agreement because it was two sides of the structured deal. It also included the separate plea agreement for 2 tax misdemeanors. Now, the diversion agreement has a provision that says if there's a dispute over whether Biden breached terms of the deal, it would go to the judge for fact-finding. Now, the judge questioned why it would plop her in the middle of a deal she didn't have a say in and potentially block the Justice Department from bringing charges, which is a function of the executive branch, hence the separation of powers, right? And so she didn't accept the plea deal. According to the order, the parties have 30 days to submit additional briefs on the matter. So it's exhausting. This whole thing is going to continue. And I say let it. I applaud the judge for taking some time and slowing things down. Because if Hunter Biden is going to plead guilty to something and get this diversion program, which again, it is not surprising that someone with a drug addiction lies. The fact that the GOP and conservative commentators are like, he was talking to President Biden at the time. It's his son. It's his son. And, you know, you guys can say that I'm being biased here. But I think that I would argue the president, the press secretaries have been staying the hell out of this. If this was former President Trump and it was his children, he would be commenting on it constantly. You think he'd stay the hell out of it? No. They're letting the case move forward as prosecutors see fit. And I say, let it. And if Hunter Biden ends up in prison or jail or whatever, you do the crime, you do the time, man. That's it. But for this to be a leap to impeachment, prove it. If you can prove it, because all I keep hearing from the GOP is Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden. But he talked to the president. Yes, it's his son. You're going to have to prove a hell of a lot more than that. And if you do, more power to you. But you have to prove that President Biden was involved. You can't just say, well, because Hunter Biden was using his family's name, which obviously so do the Trump children. So does anybody with a famous last name. Like, that's not an argument. You have to prove that President Biden did something wrong. If you could prove it, okay. Okay. And that's as simple as it is. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. It doesn't have to be. That's it. All right. Then did you see Mitch McConnell today? I'm going to show you this video. Now, look, I'm going to say this. If this was President Biden, 25th Amendment, immediately. And in all honesty, if this was President Biden, I might agree. See how I do that? Conservatives. See how I can be fair? Because I feel like Mitch McConnell, something happened. Something happened, whether it was a small stroke or what have you. But here is the video. Now, he's at a press conference. Now, if you're listening on the podcast instead of watching it, I'll do a little bit of a play-by-play. Here you go.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDA this week. It's been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
So he's just staring off into the ether. He's not blinking. He's just standing there. He's not moving. And everyone around him is like, is anyone going to do anything? Still just standing there. Finally, some woman on his side says something.
Are you good?
Like, look how long this is.
Okay, Mitch. Anything else you want to say, or should I just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press?
And he's like, nah, I'm not going to say anything else. All right. So what do you guys think? I'm not making fun. I don't want to make fun of him. We are human beings here. Okay. Mitch, Karen writes in, Mitch McConnell farted and then pooped his diaper, or he had a stroke. I think he had a stroke, a mini stroke, although he did come back. So he walked back. And then he did, I think CNN's Manu Raju asked him, let's address what happened. And Mitch McConnell just said, I'm fine. And then I think another reporter, I don't think it was Manu Raju, he asked, do you know who would take your place if you were set to retire? And he just laughed and walked away. And John, you're absolutely right. If that was Joe Biden, if that was President Biden, I'm going to totally be honest here. Not only would the GOP be calling on him to resign, I probably would. I would definitely want a medical professional to tell me how the president of the United States is doing. Because if that was my grandparent, if that was my parent, if that was anyone I knew, pausing, mid-sentence, not really all there, not blinking, I'd be like, something happened. And Mitch McConnell's old. There's no debate about this. I'm not being mean. He is an old man. So again, I personally think Mitch McConnell should never have been reelected to begin with. Can't stand the guy. Politically, in my opinion, devil incarnate. Mitch McConnell sucks. All right? I don't wish him any harm. I just wish he'd stop being reelected. But something happened to him health-wise. Something absolutely happened health-wise. But yeah, nobody called 911. He walked back. There was video of him walking back to the press conference. He didn't go back up to the podium. He just stood off to the side. And so we'll see. Again, it'll be interesting to see how the GOP reacts to this versus other things. And in all honesty, and I hate to say this, I don't want to be ageist, people. But it then goes to show that very powerful politicians are really up there in age. And who is coming up behind them that's not bat crazy on the GOP side? Okay? Because we are talking about, Mitch McConnell. I mean, who's going to replace him? I mean, look at McCarthy, the House Speaker. He is a tool. I mean, his knees must be raw for how much ass kissing the guy does to every other member. He is not a leader. He just does whatever keeps him in office. Another person I cannot stand. At least he's not as old as Mitch McConnell, which means we're going to probably have to deal with his ass forever and a day. But it's so frustrating. Absolutely frustrating to see the hypocrisy, of course, when people are going to talk about Joe Biden being too old for president. And yet no one, I highly doubt, maybe they will, maybe they'll surprise me, but I highly doubt anyone within the GOP is going to say anything about what happened with Mitch McConnell today. All right, let's welcome Kim McAllister to the show. Hello, my friend.
Hi.
So did you see that Netflix is really doubling down on AI at a time when obviously the actors and writers are striking over this exact thing. They are offering a job with quite the paycheck. Let me play you this little report with a little background on it from our friends at KTVU. And I'm wondering, yes, there's a strike, right? And the actors and the writers are doing it. But I think that the average viewer needs to be more vocal about what they want their entertainment to look like.
Netflix recently posted for an AI product manager position that could pay up to $900,000 per year. Now, a tech reporter says that job postings like these indicate that Netflix will continue to use AI, especially as it improves.
I don't expect them to back away from AI. We just expect to be compensated fairly.
Thousands of actors with the Screen Actors Guild have been on strike for over a month, and the use of artificial intelligence for content is one of the major issues actors and writers are negotiating. Oakland-based actor Michael Sommers has a show on Netflix and has been a SAG-AFTRA member for 28 years.
One of the concerns is that I could develop a character that they fall in love with, and then they don't need to hire me anymore in order to portray that character.
Netflix and other production companies show no signs that they won't continue using and developing AI technology. This post on Netflix's website says it's hiring a product manager for machine learning or AI that could pay up to $900,000.
Between $300 and $900,000. We are so in the wrong field, Kim. I don't know. I
like,
wasted my education,
Can you
apparently.
imagine that negotiation? I'll take the 9, please.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
very
would
much.
say, yeah, nearly $1 million a year salary.
I have a friend who is a project manager for a tech company in San Francisco, and I forwarded him the job ad, and I said, I think maybe you might want to apply for this one. He said, God, that looks like a lot of work, and it's all the way in Los Gatos. And I'm like, $900,000
You can afford it. Get a
year.
freaking limo, dude. If you don't want to, you can sleep in the car. I mean, the work.
You get a helicopter down to Los Gatos every day. It's okay.
I don't know. Again, totally above my expertise. I have no idea what goes into, I'm assuming, a lot of work on the computer doing stuff I don't know anything about. But for $900,000, you're working your ass off, probably around the clock. Do you want to do something like that?
I'm
But
saying we're over here talking about foot pudding. And,
there's a lot of money in foot pudding.
And eating alien hamburgers flying at your face, right?
Yes, exactly. We could totally do that. Or we can work behind a computer all day, every day. Now, I don't know which one sounds appetizing. Neither of them do, in all honesty. But here's my question is, do I want AI shows? You heard that guy there. He's like, I do one day's work and then they can manipulate my image over and over and over again. And that's the problem. There needs to be compensation because pretty soon they'll have enough, right? If they have enough different likenesses, they have the technology to manipulate it a myriad of different ways. And so then actors, real life human actors, won't really be needed at the level they are anymore. And that sucks. That really does suck. Randy wrote in something scary. There's a TV news site in India that's using an AI generated anchor person. It's like that DJ we were talking about a month or so ago, remember? Who was so happy to have an AI version of herself. Like, you are talking yourself out of a job, woman.
I have to Google that one. I will say that I liked in Indiana Jones how they were able to use whatever computer technology to de-age him.
Yes.
As part of the story, I liked what they did with Carrie Fisher in Star Wars, even after she died.
But that's after they're dead and now they're old. Yeah.
So there's some tech stuff that happens that I like that may include artificial intelligence. I don't know. But I think that's done with compensation for these actors. I think it's done with the right it's done the right way in order to further the story, because you don't, obviously you can't go back in time and de-age yourself naturally, right?
Yeah.
But I think that that I don't really care for the thought of an AI generated actor, even if it's taken from the real person. I think it will lack some depth and character.
I
And
would think so.
I think we'll be able to tell. I really do.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll get so much better if they allow it, right? I mean, if this agreement that's eventually hopefully reached between SAG and all these, Disney, Netflix, all these people, includes the allowance of AI generated images to a certain extent, then the technology is just going to get better and better and better, and they're just going to keep having to readdress it. What?
Lisa. Lisa is the first AI news anchor. And
Oh, is this the India one? Okay.
yeah, I have to bring it up because Randy mentioned it. I had to look her up and see. She looks like a person, like a real person.
Well, I would
Lisa
hope
does.
so. Oh, can you
Yeah.
play it?
Yeah, let's see what
Warm
she has to
greetings to everyone. Namaste. I am OTV's and Odisha's first AI news anchor Lisa. As you all know, OTV is the first private satellite channel of Odisha which came into existence nearly 2.5 decades ago. In these 25 years of its broadcasting journey, OTV has reached many milestones, earning the reputation of being Oriya people's go-to news channel. Now, giving birth to me and by instating me into the TV and digital world,
giving
OTV
birth to
has
me.
marked the beginning of a historic moment not only in Odisha, but for all the regional television broadcast mediums across the country. Please tune in for our upcoming segments.
No, thank you. No. I mean, I think it looks good. Okay, if we're talking about that. There is something to be said with an anchor, let's just say a TV anchor, telling you the news
Mhm.
and then having not a reaction, not like, giving an opinion, but being there with you, right?
Mhm.
So imagine if in India they had something like a 9/11,
Yeah.
right? They would just be giving you the information.
Or
They
a
don't
major
have any,
earthquake,
or a
which
major
happens all
earthquake.
the time there,
There's
right?
no sort of,
Yeah.
oh my God, I know, there's been
I
those
wanna
instances of weather people, like in Tornado Alley, and they're like, oh my God, I got to call my kid. These moments that just happen to pop up because they're actually real life human beings behind the camera. I think that's what people still want. I would hope.
She
I would hope.
sounds AI to me. She
Yes.
sounds very mechanical, and
Yeah.
she has her hands like this,
Very
and she's
tightly.
very right? I don't want that. I
No.
want what I love about news?
Mm.
One of the many things I love about news is when you're doing it and you make a mistake because you're going to.
Of course.
It becomes something really funny, and
Right.
it becomes, this moment that we all share together that we can all laugh about.
Unless it's
Those
Ajiana, and then it's all
No.
bad.
But these are some moments where, we've had great fun on the radio doing news. And
Absolutely.
so I just feel like those moments are going to be gone. And it's just all going to be a very prim, proper, no mistakes, everything,
No
you know,
emotion.
and that's
Yeah.
not the human experience. I'm sorry, but that isn't.
Right. Eric says the AI job is probably a short-term position. Once you set it up, they'll just use AI to keep it running. Yeah, right. It's like you're going to train a program or develop a
Yeah,
program that's going to get you out of a job. It is.
right.
And you're going to do blood, sweat, and tears into it, and you're going to lose your job.
Maybe they're paying 900,000 because they know the job is short-lived. It's like a 1-year deal, people. You're in,
Exactly.
you're out. Yeah.
Now I want to play you this. Thankfully, ABC in Chicago, I believe this is, was able to bleep it for me. Now this happened, I want to say within the last month, but Snoop Dogg has canceled his Hollywood Bowl shows in solidarity with striking actors and writers, which makes sense because of what I'm about to show you. He was on this panel and they were talking about streaming. They're like, oh, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. Yeah. Snoop Dogg wasn't as excited as everybody else on that panel. Let's here he is talking about it.
Got to get that together, because I don't understand how you get paid off of that. Like, I mean, can somebody explain to me how you can get 1 billion streams and not get $1 million? Like, that don't make sense to me. Like, I don't know who the running the streaming industry if you in here or not. But you need to give us some information on how to track this money down. Because 1 + 1 ain't adding up to 2. That don't add up. And I have to say it. Because that's the main gripe with a lot of us artists is that we do major numbers with streams and this, but it don't add up to the money. Like, what is the money? When I first came out, my records would sell based off of physical. If you sold 1 million copies, that means if $9.99, $9 million, you get this percentage, that's what it is. So if I sell how many streams, how much money do I get? It's not being translated and it's not working for the artist right now. And I just want to speak to that in the music industry like that up. And we need to find a way to figure that out the same way the writers are figuring out. The writers are striking because streaming, they can't get paid. Because when it's on the platform, it's not like in the box office. In the box office, if it does all these numbers, you may get an up. Oh, it did this minute, here's another check. But on streaming, you got 300,000 hours that somebody watched your movie. Where's the money? And I know I'm going off a script right now. This is business. Yeah. This is business. You know what I'm saying? This is a room full of business people, and somebody may hear this and be able to do something about it so that way the next artist don't have to struggle or cry or try to figure out how to get to his money. Because some of these artists are streaming millions and millions and millions and millions of streams, and they don't got no millions of dollars in their pocket. So.
And it's true. And obviously he was dropping F-bombs and, S-words all the time, but his point is completely valid. We have made such an accelerated jump to how musicians, actors, writers can make a living. And yeah, Snoop Dogg is rich. He's probably saying, I should be a hell of a lot richer. The reason why musicians tour all the time or go on such long tours. Harry Styles has been on tour on his Love on Tour for years because that's how they can make guaranteed money. They're not making the money off of the streams anymore. Which is it's a weird thing because it's not as if back in the day, these artists got paid every time I played a CD that I had purchased. But there was that initial chunk of money that the artist received when I bought that hard copy CD or cassette tape or whatever people bought, right? And so we do need to fix this. And Netflix and Disney and all these people, they need to start forking over the money. And even if that means, in my opinion, fewer new shows that they cancel within a year or two anyway, fine. Because this is a very slippery slope where pretty much everything is going to be digitized. AI will do everything. And then where does that leave us? Just like everything else, it could be exciting. It could be helpful. It could really, advance society. But you have to still protect the human behind all of the work. At least that's what I think. And I mean, if that means that we get less entertainment, I don't think we'd freaking notice because there's so much crap also on streaming apps anyway that I think we'll be fine. I think we could totally find something. Real quickly, before we go to Kim's news, I just want to show some other ways that people are showing their support, I should say, for the actors' strike and the writers' strike. Look at this guy. I don't know if you guys saw this. This was a little while ago. This guy set himself on fire. He's a stunt performer. Here he is. Look at this. Yeah. Lighting myself on fire. Yeah, that's quite a job. Get AI to do that, right?
Okay, where's the guy with the extinguisher? I think. Come on.
Now he's
Let's
gonna
go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Right there. Exactly. And then the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions is going to be delayed because a lot of the winners are saying they're not going to come in solidarity with the strike, even though they're obviously not actors. Mayim Bialik isn't doing it because she is an actress. And so she's not hosting Jeopardy. Ken Jennings still is. And I think Will Wheaton was giving him crap about it. But Ken Jennings is not an actor. He could, of course, put a pause on Jeopardy if they didn't have a host or have someone else step in. I just feel like something needs to happen. How long is this really going to be dragged out for? I think people have enough things to binge that it's going to take a little bit of time, but you know, it's nothing you want to see. These people work hard. They own their image. I hope the contract that they have gives them the protection that they need. Because if not, you're going to see a lot of quote unquote reality TV and a lot of AI shows.
What's
Okay,
this?
go
The
ahead.
one we watched, was it The Last of Us?
Yeah.
That's delayed.
Oh yeah,
They're
there's so
saying.
many
Yeah.
things delayed. Yeah, I mean, all production has been halted. But again, I love The Last of Us. You know what's going to happen though? I'm going to forget about it. This is the problem with streaming. There's too much. So you're obsessed with a show, and then you just watch something else. Like right now, I just watch cooking shows all the time. Cooking competitions, cooking shows. Gordon Ramsay and me, we're besties right now. Like I just watch all of his crap. But after a while, I want to watch a new, show with actors and actresses and not all these competitions or what have you. Deadpool apparently is also delayed, Eric says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian is delayed. A couple
my husband's gonna be
Star
mad
Wars
about that.
things delayed. Yeah.
Everything, everything's going to get delayed because of this. And the longer it goes on, some of these shows may not survive.
That's
they
power,
just might move on.
though. That's power when you have the ability to strike and, make an impact like that on so many people that are feeling it. And then when the shows are delayed, a lot of people might call the networks or say, I want my shows back. Can you fix this, please? And maybe that puts pressure on the studios to do something.
Yeah, Randy, you're absolutely right. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did make like a huge donation to the SAG fund, which is supposed to help these people on strike. It also matters how long it goes, and of course, it's being divvied up amongst a lot of people, I would assume. So we'll see. I hope that it's who blinks. That's how all these strikes are. Who's gonna blink? And I hope it's not the actors. I really hope it's not, because there's a lot of very paycheck to paycheck, less than actors that are really, really hurting right now. Okay, when we come back after Kim's news, we're going to switch gears. How many of you had parents that let you, I don't know, drink a glass of wine at the holiday dinner? Or told you when you were in high school, all right, you could drink here because it's better than you drinking and driving, or me not knowing what you're doing, or yeah, you could smoke cigarettes, you're going to do it anyway. Do you think that some of these substances, legal or illegal, should be allowed under a parent's supervision? The reason why I ask is there's a number of stories that deal with this. First, Kevin Durant is saying weed's like wine nowadays, which if it's like wine, it should have just, completely be allowed, especially in the sports world where he says everybody does it. Kristen Bell, this was the story I wanted to get to yesterday. And Dak Shepard, they're actors and actresses, they're married. They let their kid drink non-alcoholic beer. And so some people are saying, even if there's no alcohol in it, are you kind of promoting something? Did anyone remember those candy cigarettes? I was listening to the radio this morning and they were talking about it, and it's instantly popped into my mind too. The ice cream man used to sell you gummy cigarettes. So there'd be a ton of sugar on them and you blow and it looked like a puff of smoke coming out the cigarette. Right. They sold these to children back in the day, and we wonder why we started smoking.
I used to have those. Did you have those?
Yeah, of course. But like,
and you would be like, darling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think that things like this make it so kids don't want to do it later in life? Like the taboo is not there anymore. Or is this why we have some problems in this country? Is because we kind of blur the line between what's allowed at a certain age and what's not allowed at a certain age. And did your parents just let you get away with things? Like was it drinking? Was it smoking cigarettes? Did they let you cuss at home? Right? Did you get a cuss word? That's a thing. Some parents are like, okay, when you hit 13, you can have a cuss word. And that's the only cuss word you could say. You can't say any other cuss words in front of me. Did you have anything like that in your household? Or were you just are you extremely strict? Let us know in the comments. We'll talk about that after Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Breaking news today, and I don't know if you heard it on the Mark Thompson show, and I think Nikki may have mentioned it, but the singer Sinead O'Connor has died. Her family telling the Irish Times.
I didn't know that. Oh my goodness.
I thought you had mentioned it earlier.
I didn't.
I'm sorry. So this first reported on TMZ, first reported to the Irish Times, and then TMZ picked it up here in America. Her family telling the Irish Times that it is with great sadness we announce the passing of our beloved Sinead. Family and friends devastated. They have requested privacy, or they say at this very difficult time. Sinead O'Connor, 56 years old. She, of course, has gone through some serious mental health struggles. She
Mm.
lost her 17-year-old son to suicide a year ago as well.
Oh,
At
yeah.
this point, no cause of death released, but age 56.
Oh, that's so sad. And yeah, well, you don't want to, obviously make any assumptions on what led to her death, but that is really, really, I used to love her. I mean, you grew up, nothing compares to you. And then obviously the SNL performance put her down a road of controversy, but, oh, that's so sad.
That was apparently a song written by Prince that she brought to number one. Nothing
Oh, yeah.
compares to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden, let's talk about this case today because Hunter Biden is pleading not guilty now to federal tax charges. Why? Well, it's because a judge rejected the plea deal that he had in place. Prosecutors and defense lawyers tried to put together a revised plea deal at the 11th hour after a disagreement over the original. The original fell apart when the judge asked prosecutors if it provided immunity for any future charges related to Hunter Biden's business dealings. They said no. Judge said no. There you go. So that didn't work out. And I know you were talking about this one, Nikki. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is saying, nothing to see here. Move along. I'm fine.
Of
It's
course.
okay.
Of course.
Don't worry about it. I'm going to be okay. This after he had to be escorted away from a Republican leadership news conference this morning. The Kentucky senator appeared to freeze and stop talking during the news conference. Like maybe, I don't know, you see a ghost or someone in the crowd that, means to do you harm. You think it's a medical emergency he was having. Some of his colleagues asked McConnell if he was okay before Senator John Barrasso held him by the arm, walked him away from the podium. McConnell later walked back to the news conference by himself. But, earlier this year, he was in a rehabilitation facility after he tripped and fell at an event. He is 81. So,
Yeah, he's not a spring chicken. And again, I don't wish him any ill will, but I think it's time for him to retire. I'll say it. I do. But I thought I've been saying that for like 10 years.
People are calling for Feinstein to retire. It's only fair.
Yep.
California is moving forward with a new approach to stimulant addiction. Get a load of this one. So, they will be paying people with gift cards as a reward for staying sober. It's called contingency management.
Mm-hmm.
The model doles out financial incentives to users every time their drug tests are negative for stimulants. So unlike opioid addictions, there are no medications such as methadone for stimulant use disorder, like meth, that type of thing. California was the first state in the nation to win approval for a contingency management solution under Medicaid. The pilot programs launch in Sacramento, San Francisco, Los Angeles, 24 counties in our state. And officials say this program has been effective in the past. They've known it's been effective. That should have been put into place sooner. If this trial is successful, the hope is the state will allow expansion to serve everyone on Medi-Cal.
Wait, okay. How much money? How much money are we talking about here?
They didn't say how much the gift card was worth.
A gift card, okay.
They didn't tell me where the gift card would be good to. If it's the Safeway gift card, is it,
right?
A Lululemon gift card? I don't know.
How far is that gift card going to stretch? I do believe that money is a great motivator, right? That was like the Biggest Loser type of thing, right? Like if you pay people to live a healthier lifestyle, it is a good motivator. I don't know how long it's sustainable. And if we have all this money, can we just put it into like mental health and drug treatment programs instead of this? We know that we need to put money into the human infrastructure of getting people clean and on the mental right track. I don't think that this is a good use of funds. I just don't. I would rather have the money go a different way.
So I was reading a story about it, and apparently people that are working on the front lines of drug addiction in San Francisco say there is no medication to treat certain addictions like stimulant use disorder. And so what's happening is they're watching people die before their eyes, and they can offer no help. They can do nothing. Nothing for them.
What does money change about that, though?
Well, and I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
okay?
no, I know, but like they still, you give me
if
$5 and I'm still addicted. What has changed except I have $5 in my hand?
If you spend money on methadone for people that are addicted to, whatever substance,
Heroin, whatever. I don't know.
If you spend money on people that are addicted to fentanyl, if you spend money on people that are addicted to alcohol, then why wouldn't you want to spend money on people that are addicted to stimulants? And right now, there's nothing you can spend. There's no money you can spend because there's no treatment for it. And if they know that giving people cash or gift cards, in this case, gift cards for California, makes a difference, then maybe that's the treatment.
No, I'm not buying it.
No?
I think that if
I'm not buying it either. I'm not buying what I'm selling.
I just feel like, okay, if there's no drug to help people get off stimulants, money is not going to help. Then you're basically saying you just need to give a better motivation for cold turkey and to kind of white knuckle it, right? I'm saying use that money to teach them different avenues to put that addiction in. I mean, even if there's not any sort of medication or something you can give to someone that's addicted to stimulant drugs, there are programs you can help them versus just giving them 50
money
to the grocery.
Yeah. Do you feel like if you are addicted to cigarettes right now, do you feel like if someone said, all right, I'll give you $100 gift card if the next time we see you haven't smoked and it's been a week, and you come in and you test free and clear and you get your $100 gift card, and then they say, okay, one more week, we'll give you another $100 next Friday if you can keep it clear. Does that make you not smoke, or are you like, screw your gift card, I'm smoking?
Well, let me put it this way, and this is just devil's advocate. For me personally, because I was able to quit smoking, I'm going to say yes, because I was able to do it. But basically, and anybody that smokes cigarettes knows this, if you quit, you get more than that money in a week, depending on how much you smoke, because you're not spending it on this very expensive habit. That's what they say all the time. Any money that you would spend on a pack, like if you smoke a pack a day, take that money, like $20, because it's so freaking expensive, and put it in a savings account or put it in a jar. And then you could see every day, instead of spending that money, I'm saving it. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to treat myself to something. That never works. Now, of course, it's your money. So maybe it doesn't have the same motivation as someone giving you the money. Quitting anything that's like cigarettes or drugs, extremely difficult. I had to white knuckle it for a very long time. But I was able to do it. I don't know if I do think money would have helped, but I also think it's my personality and that sort of thing that really helped me push through. Other people don't have that capability. It's harder for them. Yeah.
I know it's not addiction, but just using money as like a dangling carrot stick to get people to do something you want. I've heard people, I don't do this, but parents will pay for grades. You bring me a report card full of A's, I'll pay you $20 for every A or whatever it is. Yeah.
No, my dad did it. We do it. I mean,
do you?
Oh God. Well, we didn't tell, like my son, for instance, he got a 4.0, he got straight A's.
Yay!
And I just gave him hella praise. I was like, good job. Throughout the year, I was like, don't, because he was always so close. He was like 3.9 because he'd missed like one assignment. Right. And I'm like, don't do that. You're blowing it. Right. And so I just gave him hella praise. And my husband actually, like a week after school was out, he's like, I gave Dylan $100 for that 4.0 report card. And I was like, you did? He's like, we just let it go when we didn't praise him for it. And I'm like, I did. But yeah, Dylan's really good. And it was good. My dad would do the same thing with me. I will tell you this. I had never in my entire life, except in college, gotten straight A's. Even though my dad was dangling money in front of me, I got less for B's. And so that's what I ended up getting. But all A's, no, I never got it because I still had my issues with learning stuff, right? And two, sometimes I was just a lazy ass, which kids are. So
I tell my kids that it's their job. School is their job.
Yes, we do that too. Yeah.
And I expect them to try their hardest and do their best. And that could mean that one kid gets straight A's, and it could mean one kid doesn't. It could mean whatever it is, or they both do, or whatever.
Right.
But I feel like I don't want to pay them for that because I want them to feel that it's their responsibility, that it's not something that, I want them to feel a personal reward and not a cash reward. But I do, if somebody gets a great report card, or has a great day at school, or I get a really nice note home from a teacher about one of them, we will make their favorite dinner and celebrate
Right.
and dedicate the
Something.
meal to them
Yeah.
and cheers and everything like that. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Here's a story. I want to show you the picture of her, but Fairfield police, they are opening a cold case. And I don't know if you remember this case out of 1991.
Okay.
Out
Maybe.
of Campbell, and I think I have it right. No, I'm sorry, not out of Campbell, out of Fairfield. Here she is. Do you remember this girl? Her
Nicole
name,
Campbell? Amanda?
Amanda Nicole Campbell. That's why I was thinking
Okay.
Campbell. All right. She goes missing in 1991 while riding her bike, and she hasn't been seen since. She
Okay.
lived just a few minutes from the home of David Zanstra, who was recently arrested in Pennsylvania after admitting to murdering an 8-year-old girl there in 1975.
Was
So
he the
now
pastor?
I don't know if he was a pastor. Yes, that's correct.
Yes. I
Mhm.
just heard that story.
So, now Fairfield police investigators want to know if there's any connection to Zanstra. He is an 83-year-old former pastor, and Amanda, whose case has been cold for many, many years. If
Wow.
there is a connection, investigators and friends hope to provide some closure to Amanda's family and see to it that justice is finally served.
Oh,
So
how
sad. What a
devastating.
nightmare. And that is her when she was little, when she disappeared. And then they did an age progression, and on the right side you see her age
Yeah.
progression. That's what she would look like today. So
Oh, it just, well, I'm not being flippant here, but I don't know how I would be able to continue living not knowing what happened to my kid. Like
right.
it would torture, just awful. Oh, well, I hope they do get a break in the case. That would be amazing.
Huge hope and love going out to her family in
Yeah,
Fairfield.
absolutely.
I mean, one of ours, Bay Area girl. So, let's talk about interest rate hike.
Oh,
Yep.
boo. They did
Going
it
up
again.
Here it goes, up and up and up. Fed Reserve raising its benchmark lending rate by 1/4 point today. Interest rates are now at their highest level in 22 years, and the Fed saying they estimate they'll do one more this year. So, also, I don't know if you heard about this as a breaking story today, but actor Kevin Spacey,
Oh, yeah.
he will not be spending any time in a British prison. The 2-time Oscar winner found not guilty in connection with alleged encounters with 4 men over a 12-year period while Spacey was living and working in London. The most serious of the 9 charges carried a maximum life sentence. So he's acquitted.
He dodged one, yeah.
Walks away from this scot-free, no problem, and that's it. I won't say no problem because I mean, you've already seen him kind of be excommunicated from the entertainment industry. No one's really
Yeah.
hiring him for anything.
I liked him. I thought he was an
Yeah.
amazing actor. But yeah, he's so again, separating the art from the artist. Such a good actor. So good.
Really good actor.
But yeah. But again, is it one of those, is it like an OJ thing where people are like, yeah, he did it, but we couldn't prove it? Or is it, and here was the other thing, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I also wonder, is it because it was a sexual relationship with other men that people look at the case differently? If that makes sense. Like if it was against underage or young women and he was heterosexual, would they view it differently than they do young men now older coming out with all these stories about Kevin Spacey?
I tend to think not because of the Weinstein case. We saw that women were being attacked, raped, and that was taken very seriously. So I think regardless of the gender of the victim, when you're talking about being accused of sexual crimes against people, maybe that's taken seriously now. It didn't
I do think that it's taken seriously for women. I wonder though, and I'm not saying it is or isn't, and I want it to be, but I just wonder if decades have passed, 10 years have passed, whatever, and a young man that's now older says this happened to me, if he's heard as loudly as women. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a different type of relationship, and also I'm just gonna say it, the stigma involved with gay men and LGBTQ issues. Some people are like, well, whatever. I don't care about stuff like that in some circles. I do. I'm not saying I don't, But it's just something I'm wondering, and it'll be interesting to see Kevin Spacey's career trajectory now that he's been acquitted on all these charges.
Let's talk about Taylor Swift.
Oh, let's talk about Taylor Swift.
Yes, because it's still the case. Fans are not allowed to stand outside of Levi's Stadium. You can't Taylor Gate inside, and you can't stand outside.
How are they going to stop that though?
Shows.
Somebody was saying it's a public road. Like you can't stop people from walking. It's going to be interesting. Someone on the radio was calling it the Super Bowl. Like this is as big, if not bigger, than having the Super Bowl right now.
Stadium officials are saying hanging out in the parking lots around the stadium and the nearby streets is a public safety risk. That's how they get you. Public safety risk. Can't do it.
They're hyping it up so much. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy over here. You need to calm down, as Taylor would say.
Concert of a generation. One Santa Clara council member disagrees, saying you can't stop people from standing on a public street.
Yes.
So they're welcome to come. Listening outside the venue has become a trend for fans who couldn't snag a Taylor Swift concert ticket. Swift is performing at the stadium Friday and Saturday, and I was looking at ticket prices yesterday. Just checking them out.
Lay it on me.
I mean, I saw some tickets for $28,000. But there were some tickets in the front, some very decent tickets, mostly around $2,000 or $3,000 a ticket each.
Yeah,
ticket.
That's what I'm saying. So I was talking with one of my mom friends, and her daughter is just beside herself wanting to go. And we were just going over these prices. Now, if there's any Swifties out there, I'm on all of the ticket finding things. You guys have been following me on this whole entire thing. But they were saying that the Seattle show, I guess this happened, whatever, and tickets the day of for like floor seats, so the best seats you can get, plummeting to like $700, which is still a huge chunk of change.
Why? Because no one would buy them at thousands, so they're trying to.
No, the show's on like right after the show began at like 8:00 at night. The prices of the tickets were just plummeting because either you sell it for a discount or you're out all of the money.
Yeah.
So if there's any Swifties out there, like myself, that will be looking on Friday to see if I can get my own self into this concert. But yeah, I mean, it's I know. And Greg's like, she's overrated BS. I'm going to tell you this again, just like the hype around the venue and what's going to happen. And just like Barbie, I feel like Taylor Swift is the musical equivalent to the Barbie movie. It has just been hyped up so much that it feels like if you're not there, you're missing, your own child's birth. It seems like it's just, it has that much importance. I will say this, the fact that it's the Eras tour and it's so long and she's packing in so many songs. If you are a fan, it is quite the concert to go to. So there you go.
Yeah, well, pretty penny as well.
Yeah.
And don't stand outside.
Don't stand on a public road. Apparently, you just can't do that, I guess.
The Nikki Medoro show is crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you for help. You can find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com. You can see it spelled out right there, thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon link is there. The PayPal link is there. You'll also find links to the podcast and the Nikki merch, which is really cool. We've got sweatshirts and all kinds of fun stuff to get your hands on. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the Nikki Medoro Show.
And another reminder that the Nikki Medoro Show is moving a week from yesterday, August 1st. Mark your calendars. This show is moving to the mornings, and I love how many comments I see of people saying, loving that you're going to be in the morning. So that makes me extremely happy. So it's going to start at 9:00. We'll go to 11. Then Mark Thompson, you see it right on your screen right there, 11 to 1. And then Kim McAllister is going to host the After Party Live along with John Daly. It's a 1-hour show from 1 until 2. And Kim, you're almost there. I checked right before the show. You were over 900 subscribers. She needs 1,000 to go live. Are you there yet?
I am at 934.
Come on. So
I need a few more subscribers.
I'm doing everything I can to promote
totally
this show.
Free.
Yes.
All you have to do is go to this link. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. And then click subscribe. It's free. 2 clicks. One on the link, one on subscribe. Off you go, and you're done. thank you very much for that, because we can't go live August 1st unless we have 1,000 subscribers.
She's gonna get. I bet you by the end of today. That's what I would love to see. That's my
Okay.
goal. Come on, people, we could do this. By the end of today, I want to see it 1,000 or more, way more, right? And so, we have a great community here, and it's going to continue 9 until 2. People, we're giving it to you right here on YouTube, and we absolutely love doing it. Okay, all right. So we were talking a little bit, Kim. You were talking about, paying for grades and what parents do and don't do for their kids. Would you let your kids, or have you let your kids try alcohol? You can be honest.
Yes.
Okay. How much? Like what's the scenario?
We're talking
a sip.
Minuscule. But remember, we've got a few vines of Pinot. There's like not many.
Right.
I'm talking like 30 vines, right? And so ever since Julia, it's called Julia's Vineyard. So ever since she was born, and she's now 13.
Right.
She and my husband have harvested the grapes, pressed the grapes, made the wine. So she's a bit of a wine connoisseur. And as early as kindergarten and first grade, they were saying, what's your favorite kind of drink? And she would say, Pinot, my Pinot, Julia's Pinot. Like, shh, don't say that. But no, we let her have a sip. A little sip in her own glass to feel special. And the reasoning behind that is that we feel like in other countries, that's allowed. Kids are given a little bit.
Right.
And it takes the mystique out of it so that when they hit their teenage years or when they turn 21, they don't go hog wild crazy. I have a hard time with it because I don't want them to think I'm condoning it, but I also think there's some big mystery to it, right? So I don't know if what I'm doing is right or wrong, but I let them have a sip here and there.
Okay. So as Julia, now she's in high school. I'm sure you've heard of parents who are like, you know what? They're going to start drinking anyway. I'd rather have them drink under my own roof instead of at somebody else's house or out on the road drinking and driving. So if they're going to drink, they can go and party in my backyard or basement or whatever you have. Would you ever allow your kid to literally drink under your roof?
I've seen parents that it surprised me that they were okay with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think I want a bunch of drunk teens in my backyard. And I don't think letting them drink to excess is good for them or me or anybody else. And do I know they're going to do it? I hope they won't, but teens do. I mean, I did it. Did you do it?
Of course. Yeah. In high school, I drank. I mean, not regularly, but again, I didn't drink. So my parents, I think the biggest time that they ever literally allowed me to drink was my high school graduation. They had a party and we were able to drink, and I didn't get, obviously smashed. I think they had a better time than I did, but yeah, they totally allowed me to drink.
Yeah.
I'd graduated high school. I was going to college. Right. But also, mind you, I'm young for my grade. I didn't turn 18 until the October after I was in college. So it was very difficult. You always have to depend on other people to get you booze. So it was never easy. Not to mention I'm short. There was no shoulder tapping for me. People think I'm a child still. So it's no. It was very difficult for me to get my hands on booze that obviously if I wasn't stealing it from my parents. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is Kristen Bell and her husband let their young children, and I'm talking little kids, drink non-alcoholic beer. Apparently, so they have two daughters, 9-year-old Lincoln, 8-year-old Delta. So a 9 and an 8-year-old. We're not talking about teenagers. Dax Shepard, who is a recovering alcoholic and drug addict, has developed his own non-alcoholic beer. And this is 0 alcohol, no alcohol. Some non-alcoholic beer has a percentage, 0.5% or something. And apparently they leave the non-alcoholic beer in the fridge for their daughters to pop open and drink. Now, there's no alcohol in it.
It has no booze in it.
Right. It has no booze, but it does say beer on it. It's non-alcoholic beer. Similar to the candy cigarettes we can get at the, from the ice cream man when we were kids. And somebody said in the comment, you could still get them somewhere at novelty shops.
Right.
Is this instilling something in the kids where it's okay, I understand, but it's a pathway. You're kind of showing the kids, similar to just maybe tiny sips or whatever, that at your age, even though legally you're not allowed to do X, Y, and Z, we're going to have this little caveat right here.
Maybe it says something about me as a person, but
don't judge yourself.
Even though I had those candy cigarettes as a kid, I wouldn't buy them for my kids. I don't want even the appearance of cigarettes or vaping anywhere near them. I don't want to say have them pretend. I don't want them to think it's cool.
Right.
It's not cool. It's not even cool to pretend.
Exactly.
So you could say that's the same way about beer, but I don't feel like non-alcoholic beer is that big of a deal.
I don't think that the drinking of it is that big of a deal. I think it's more of the going to the fridge. It's the action of it. Does that make sense? It's the action of I'm going, it looks like a beer. It says beer on it. There's no alcohol in it. Popping the top, chugging it. And apparently the kids are so like used to this.
Right.
The reason why Kristen Bell was talking about it is sometimes they'll go to restaurants and order
Oh,
non-alcoholic beer. And she's like, we just do that at home. We don't do that here. And so it's just, I feel a little uncomfortable at it. I don't want to make it like, hey, can you pick me up some O'Doul's? Right? Like, or whatever non-alcoholic beer there is. I wouldn't want them to do that. I don't want them doing the candy cigarettes. Vaping has been, even though it's not technically a combustible cigarette, obviously, many say it's a gateway to smoking real cigarettes. There's nicotine in it, and some they just go there. For me, and I've shared this before, vaping is what helped me quit altogether. But I was doing it, at the very, very beginning. Say hello, Dylan. Hi. Okay. Another thing, obviously, that kids experience, especially in high school and in those growing years, is marijuana. And I know your feelings about, the legalization and things of marijuana. But what do you think the influence is when people like Kevin Durant say that it's just like wine? That he does it, and while I will argue adults, athletes, the banned substances list should not include marijuana, I'm wondering, as someone that kids look up to, if this is kind of the right message to give them. Here's Kevin Durant on a panel, and he's asked about the marijuana businesses he's actually been investing in.
Invested in a number of cannabis companies. Yeah. And I'm so curious about your decision to be public about that, and what I'm assuming, does Adam Silver call you up and say?
No,
hey,
I actually called him and advocated for him to take marijuana off the banned substance list. I just felt like it was becoming a thing around the country, around the world, that it was, the stigma behind it wasn't as negative as it was before. It doesn't affect you in any negative way. So I felt like it was.
What did Adam tell you when you said this to him?
He agreed, and you see where we.
Well, now they've actually told players you can invest and you can smoke and everything else. I think.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, definitely. Marijuana is.
But you were a pioneer, if you will.
I wouldn't call myself a pioneer. Not at all. But
a public pioneer. How about that?
I wouldn't say that either. I just enjoy the plant. I mean, as simple as that. And
so what did you tell Adam? How did you persuade him?
Well, he smelled it when I walked in. So I didn't really have to say much. You know what I'm saying? He kind of understood where this was going. And then, I mean, it's the NBA, man. Everybody is like, everybody does it, to be honest. It's like wine at this point.
It's like wine at this point. Would you allow your child to smoke marijuana?
No, absolutely not.
Just a toke? Just to see it?
Nope.
Just to try it?
No.
So you do think it's different?
I do, personally, yeah.
Okay. Liz says, I let my kids try beer and wine when they were teens. Didn't care for either much. Also wanted to take the mystery out. So this is the other thing that we often hear is, look, it's either here or there. They're going to either try it with me under my supervision and to see what it's like, or they're going to go and try it with their friends. I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to have my head in the sand. I know these things are going to happen. So whether it's cigarettes, marijuana, or alcohol, how much guidance should a parent give? Pardon me, I had a cough. Because on one hand, I get it, but on the other hand,
no.
I don't know. I mean, I would be very uncomfortable. There's that old story where the dad took his son and locked him in a closet and made him smoke like a pack of cigarettes. And then he
Till
came
the
out and
kid
never wanted to
puked.
smoke. Yeah.
Right.
Didn't want the kid never wanted to smoke another cigarette again. I don't know if that's a true story, just some anecdotal nonsense, but I just feel like it's a mixed message that we're giving these children. It's like, don't do it. And then, okay, it's fine if you do it because you're going to do it anyway. I remember what it's like to be a teenager. I have friends that are going through it with their high schoolers right now.
Yeah.
You know, they'll come home and they're drunk.
Yeah.
And so what do you do? Like, you understand that this is what teenagers can do. You're happy they got home safe, but what kind of punishment should there be? Should there be a punishment when you know that kids try these sorts of things? I don't know. I don't know what is the right thing to necessarily do to keep kids safe, because I don't feel like, well, like Sam, and thank you, Sam, for your donation. Again, you donated to our super chat for the 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, Sam, and loving the new schedule that starts next Tuesday. Thank you for the $10,
nice.
and thank you to Ms. Organic as well that came in for $10 as well.
Nice, you
But
guys.
Sam, you also said that you'd rather have. Oh, I lost it. But you'd rather have your kid do it in your presence than out there, and I get that idea. But when do you say, okay, now you can no longer do it?
Aren't there laws now that if you've been shown to condone drinking on your property of underage minors, that you can be sued, or that you can be
absolutely held
prosecuted?
responsible? Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. I love that Lori wrote, was it Lori? I keep losing all this stuff. Okay. Lori says commercial non-alcoholic beer is more like what used to be called near beer. Alcoholics should not drink these either because there's some alcohol in them. Yes, absolutely. Also, and just to clarify again, Dak Shepard's non-alcoholic beer apparently has 0. So is it any different than somebody was mentioning
ginger ale? Yeah.
Or non-alcoholic virgin daiquiri? It's just a slushy, I guess, a fruit slushy at the restaurant.
You saw the other day, Julia walked in here. We got an ice maker, right?
Oh, yes.
And Julia walked in here with a virgin lava flow. A lava flow is a drink you can order at a restaurant that's chock full of rum and I don't know what else, vodka, something.
Wow. Yeah.
And she had one and I had one, and they looked just like lava flows, but of course she didn't put any alcohol in them.
Yeah.
Is that me condoning her drinking? I don't think so.
I bet you it'll be one of her first drinks when she does start drinking for real in a bar, though, right? I mean, it could be.
So.
Well, what did you get a taste for,
right,
as a young kid?
I'm actually surprised that Kristen and Dak's kids even like the taste of beer.
I know, it's gross.
Kind of sometimes can be bitter, and I mean, it's not sweet tasting. It doesn't have any of the taste that kids would be like, ooh. So.
Yeah, it's not like it's fruity. It's not like it's sweet. Yeah. But again, it's just one of those things where every parent's different. And I'm not knocking. I'm really not criticizing whatever decision that you choose to make your own household. But there are consequences to it. And Grady writes in, I'm a 2-time drunk driver head-on collision victim. Ooh. Alcohol is a killer. Thank God you survived, Grady. Yeah. And that's so true. And we give kids driver's license at 16, 17 years old. I don't, now that I'm an adult and not 16, I'm like, how are we giving kids this age keys with their phones and their distractions and everything else? Mm-hmm. Now we're going to, alcohol top it. And I get it, OCB, breaking news, kids try stuff. Exactly. And I think that's what a lot of parents especially say. Like, they're going to try it. They may as well just be in the safety of their own home. Yeah, if it's not fermented, there isn't. It's not the alcohol it's not the non-alcoholic. It's the message. It's the habit. It's the image. It's kind of that whole thing that I wonder if it's even smart to do. Especially, and I'll add this: Dak Shepard is a recovering alcoholic and I believe drug user as well. So it's in his genetic pool, right? So they may have more of an addictive personality. Not all the time. I'm not saying 100%, but if you come from a home with someone that's a recovering addict, whether it's alcohol or drugs, you should be a little more careful about doubling in these sorts of addictive pursuits, because you could you find yourself in trouble.
I was
Absolutely.
reading Lori's text from earlier, and that's what she said, is that Dax Shepard doesn't talk about it. Do you think that Dax Shepard doesn't talk about addiction to his kids?
Oh, of course
She
he
doesn't.
does. Yes.
Yeah. So
Of
she
course.
doesn't feel like people should be, even talking about this because it's a non-issue. I
Right.
don't know. I think it is an issue. I think it's something that we have to think about, because if I'm so concerned that by giving my kids fake cigarettes, I'm saying, cigarettes are all right, then am I saying drinking is all right if I let you, drink the fake daiquiri or drink the fake lava flow or the
Right.
fake beer, the non-alcoholic beer? Am I setting you up for failure later on? I don't want to do that either. So.
No. Parenting is tough. Parenting is really tough, and it's hard to know.
They'll try stuff, and you don't want them, like Grady, to be the victim of a drunk driving accident, or to even worse. And we've all heard stories of someone who was, gets behind the wheel. A kid had a few beers at a party and a friend dies in the car. We don't want that either. We want all the kids to be safe. So what's the right thing to do?
Yeah. And exactly. And there's no, it's really hard to know, especially because you don't want to keep your head in the sand and think that your kid's never going to come across any of these things. Right. Yeah. Gordon, driver's license should start at 18 years. Good luck changing the law on that one. I do want to play this funny little video though, just talking about parenting. And did you see this video? It happened, I think, within the last week, and I wasn't able to get it to do the show and laugh at it. You know Jesse Waters? He's the guy that's replaced Tucker Carlson on Fox News. He has a segment where he likes to bring his mom on, apparently. So this is his thing. But I did not know this because I don't really pay attention to Fox News or Jesse Waters. His mom is a total lib, like liberal. Watch what she tells him live. Where is it here? Live on his show. This exchange just made me so giddy. And who knows, is the kid gonna listen to the mom? We'll see.
We have a very special guest on the line, a Democrat, my mom. How have you? Hello there, Mom. How have you enjoyed the show so far?
I have enjoyed the show. I want to say congratulations, Honey Bun. We are so proud of you and your accomplishments, and you've worked so hard. Now let's aim to have you keep your job. And to that end, I do have some suggestions.
Okay.
Do not tumble into any conspiracy rabbit holes. We do not want to lose you, and we want no lawsuits.
Okay.
In keeping, I have a list here. In keeping with the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm. We need you to be kind and respectful. You yourself mentioned that humble is a stretch, so I get that. Use your voice responsibly to promote conversation that maintains a narrative thread. There really has been enough Biden bashing, and the laptop is old. Perhaps you could suggest that your people take less interest, for example, in other people's bodies, and talk about that.
So I absolutely love his mother. She is like my new favorite.
Yes.
Absolutely. But I love the fact that you know what? I'll give Jesse Waters props right now for even bringing his mom on, because he knew. She was probably going to say something. I love how she's like, Honey Bun. And that they've been having this conversation, like probably most of his life. I just find it interesting. I'm assuming it's I don't want to make an assumption. Do you think his dad's conservative? Because it just seems really interesting that your mother is such a liberal and you are such a conservative. So much of a conservative that you are now on Fox freaking News.
I don't know. She's pretty liberal,
Yeah.
Although that's crazy, because I feel like she's normal. When I hear her talk, I'm like, somebody normal who's like, just be kind, just be nice to people. Just don't jump down the conspiracy rabbit hole.
That was so good. Yeah, like
leave your hands off my uterus. Other people's bodies are their own. Be kind and nice. If that's liberal, that's what liberals stand for. Be kind and nice.
Yes. Yeah.
No more Biden bashing. Leave your hands off my body.
That's yes.
I mean,
I know it's crazy to think. You would think most people would agree with that.
Anybody.
Right. But I'm a total Democratic liberal. I proudly wear that badge. I have no problem saying that. And my father is the farthest right conservative that you can find. So yes, I do. But I always blame my father's political leanings on his retirement. I think that he kind of turned conservative, the normal, I'm going to put that in quotes, you're done with taxes, you're getting older, you're looking at your paycheck, stuff like that. And then he just had too much time on his hands and watched too much Fox News. So that's what I think happened. Sorry, Dad. Love you though. Okay. I know we're early. Do you want to wait? Do you want to wait 10 minutes? Or do you want to do the last year headlines now? I'm going to leave it up to you.
It depends.
Because I know we went long.
I don't have any pictures loaded, so.
Okay, I'll keep going then. I'll keep going because I want to talk about something that was also insane to watch. A lot of interesting videos today. Have you been following the UFO hearings?
Yes.
Fascinating. Yes, they are basically admitting, yes, extraterrestrials. I'm not kidding. They have no explanation for some of the flight objects that they've seen. Have none. I'm going to play you two clips that Ed Krasenstein, I don't think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Krasenstein. He posted on his Twitter. He's a good person to follow. I feel like he tries to be as fair as possible. But insane. So this first one has to do with the testimony again on Capitol Hill during the UFO hearings. And you're going to hear, there was 3 witnesses, including a former Navy pilot and a Navy commander. And they were being asked about, what they're seeing in the sky and whether or not it can be explained. So I have 2 clips. Here's one of the first ones. It's insane.
They move essentially ways in which current technology or aircraft that we know of are unable to actually function or move. And so will you just, for the public record, again, once again, just briefly just either describe or note that aircraft that are being witnessed, particularly by the 30 folks that you're working with, are essentially outside the scope of anything that we know of today and the technology we have today. Mr. Graves, Mr. Fravor?
Yes, the objects that are being seen by commercial pilots are performing maneuvers that are unexplainable due to our current understanding of our technology and our capabilities as a country. And that applies for the military as well.
Mr. Fravor?
Yeah, I concur with that. We have nothing that can stop in midair and go the other direction, nor do we have anything that can, like in our situation, come down from space, hang out for 3 hours and go back up.
Thank you. My last question, and sometimes I know that you have also said some of these.
Can I just stop it right there? He just keeps moving on. Wait a minute. It just comes down from outer space, hangs out for 3 hours, and then goes back up. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, now moving on.
Who's he interviewing?
These are the Navy commanders.
Oh my God.
Let's just finish this one clip.
Answers in the past. We're trying to get them on the public record as well, which is really important. Mr. Gresh, finally, do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
UFOs.
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
And where?
I know the exact locations.
He knows the exact locations, but he's not, he can't say it. Now, here's one more. This is the idea of actual extraterrestrials. And I have said this before. I've said this on Station X. I've said it here. I totally believe in extraterrestrials because I think it's totally asinine to think that we are the only intelligence being in this entire universe. That is just ego right there. Like, give me a freaking break. Now, what exactly they are, how they travel, those sorts of things, I don't know. But this is insane. This is on the record on Capitol Hill. This is it's just mind-blowing in my opinion.
So there has been activity by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
I can't get into the specifics in an environment, but at least the activity that I personally witnessed, and I have to be very careful here because they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So what I personally witnessed myself and my wife was very disturbing.
I don't know about you, but I feel like this should be a much bigger headline than it is. Anybody else? Because, okay, so I'm just going to go down the little rabbit hole, of course. It's one of those things where if you believe in extraterrestrials, if you believe in time travel, are we at a moment in history where beings from other parts of the universe or different times are trying to warn us about something? Because it does seem to hell in a handbasket things seem to be going, right? And so I don't know. I just was fascinated by this hearing today. I spent way too much time watching clips from this hearing. I was a little delayed even prepping for this show. It's fascinating to me. What would you do? I mean, do you think that the public can really handle being confirmed that there is extraterrestrial beings from other planets visiting Earth?
I mean, if we question that, then don't we start questioning everything? You know, how many conspiracy theories seem plausible if that's true?
Well, exactly. It's just, I don't know, man. It's not scary to me, but it does kind of seem scary to me because we don't have our stuff together to figure out how to fight. Let's just say they're not nice, right? The extraterrestrials coming to planet Earth it's all the worst sci-fi movies combined. Okay. You think we have our S together enough to as a globe to battle this? I don't think so.
We
That's
can't
what
even
worries me
agree
the
on
most.
taking a COVID vaccine. How are we going to fight off the aliens? Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Somebody call Will Smith. It's time to go.
Yeah, I don't foresee this ending well for us. But Karen writes in, no, I don't think the public could handle that there was extraterrestrials. Look at how armed up we are. If this was publicized more, people would go ape. I don't know. I feel like on one hand, we had a congressional hearing about it. On the other, it doesn't seem like it's a stop the presses moment. I mean, for me, I'm like, wait, are we paying attention to what they're actually saying? And everyone's like, yeah, okay. I'm just like, I'm looking around as I'm watching my computer. Anyone else mind being blown by this? Or is it just 2023 and nothing should surprise us anymore? It's
what I want to know is why they're holding congressional hearings on it. Why now do they want the public to know? Are they just trying to ease us into the fact that this is something that's been going on? What?
Well, because all those videos have come out, with the pilots, and so they want to have congressional hearings, and also between the Chinese balloon, are we safe? Like, wait a minute. Are we safe? If it's not extraterrestrials, is it another country? Is our national security at risk? Those are valid questions. But then this hearing happens and they're literally talking extraterrestrial. And I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't a Chinese balloon that we're talking about here. This is aliens. So, oh, you're really optimistic, Aaron. Actual proof of extraterrestrial life could unify humanity. And there's a lot of people who probably don't want humanity unified since we'd be less profitable and exploitable. Wow. Okay. I don't think it would unify humanity. Somebody else was bringing up religion. Yeah, I think that it would just bring this stuff out of the woodwork. Look, you're going to have an uptick in all these doomers or whatever, the people preparing for the apocalypse. You're going to have a bunch of people starting new religions. You're going to start people probably thinking that some of these aliens are God. Who knows? As we have learned in recent years, people are crazy. And it doesn't take much, I guess, to tip them over to the loony side. So, but it's out there. They're out there.
They're doody.
Exactly. All right. Kim's going to do some headlines. I got a couple other videos to show you guys. It's been a fun show today. I have to talk about the naked lady. Did you see the naked lady?
Yeah.
Did you see the video of the naked lady though?
No.
Insane. So I have the video.
Do they have her pixelated?
No, well, not the video
No.
I'm going to show.
Are we going to see her?
Yeah.
on all her
It's
glory?
not bad.
Okay.
It's not that bad. It's not like too close up. So, brace yourselves. It's okay. But it was of someone in a car. And what would you do? That's the question I'm going to ask before we get to these videos after Kim's headlines. What the hell would you do? And I also have an insane video of a woman that got away from some carjackers. And she did exactly what I would do, although I'd be scared S-less. That's for gosh darn sure. All right, we're going to talk about all that after Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
This is Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, and President Biden will be hosting her at the White House. Thursday. It will be Prime Minister Meloni's first official visit to the United States since she took office last year. The two leaders are expected to discuss the war in Ukraine and next year's G7 summit, which will be held in Italy. Prime Minister Meloni is Italy's first female prime minister. She came to power last October as the head of a right-wing coalition. The White House kind of sidestepping the questions coming up after Hunter Biden's plea deal involving tax and gun charges was rejected today. The press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre at the White House, was asked several times about the case involving the president's son, but only said he's a private citizen and it's a personal matter. She added the president and the first lady love their son and support him as he continues to rebuild his life. So, an update on the situation. Here's the moment where Minority Leader Mitch McConnell froze up at the podium today. An aide to Senate Minority Leader McConnell said he felt lightheaded when he appeared to freeze during a news conference today. The Kentucky senator stopped talking during this Republican leadership news conference and was asked by colleagues if he was okay. McConnell was escorted away by Senator John Barrasso before walking back himself and saying he was fine. So I guess he felt lightheaded, and that's what caused him to just stop for a second.
Well, I've passed out before, and I understand that. If he would have, I mean, we showed the video. Look, see his face right there. I know. I'm sorry, I have to look at him. He was not there, so I could imagine him being a little bit lightheaded. Usually, you would fall to the ground. I don't know. I think his time's up. Definitely.
What was interesting is reporters were still shouting at him. Is that all you want to say today? You know, Senator, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah.
It's like he's obviously having I mean,
then he should take his ass home. Take your ass home
compassionate-
then. Don't stand there like everything's okay, Mitch, because I'm sorry. If it was Biden, if you're going to stand at the podium, you're going to answer questions.
That's true, but I'm going to be a compassionate, kind person like Waters' mom says we should be, right? And I'm going to say, if you see someone, regardless of whether they are the architect of bad policies for America or not, struggling in a health crisis, chill out for a second. Don't keep shouting questions. You can see they're struggling to stay upright. Give them a minute.
Well, no, I mean, he left and then came back and answered questions. They weren't asking his questions right then and there.
Oh,
you come back, then you're
when he froze and when he was being led away, they were yelling questions at him, is what I understand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the video that I showed, he was just kind of taken away, which I think it's human reporter, right? Behavior to kind of be like, what the hell is going on? Are you okay? But when he did come back, CNN's Manu Raju straight up asked him, like, can we address what happened at the beginning of the press conference? And he's like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm assuming he's going to get some sort of medical attention. So
this is the Marine veteran who was previously imprisoned in Russia. Well, the State Department says Trevor Reed has now been hurt while fighting in Ukraine, and he is receiving medical care in Germany after reportedly stepping on a landmine. So this Marine was in Ukraine fighting the Russians. We had unfortunate news. There's some new data that shows we're so not done with COVID. It's making a comeback. The CDC says COVID hospitalizations have risen by more than 10% across the country. The report says COVID emergency room visits also jumped in the past month. So it's out there. If you go to a concert like Taylor Swift, maybe take the mask. I know people say I'm done with the mask, but if COVID's making a comeback and you're in a giant room full of people, it's like dimming the lights, the gas pedal, whatever you want to call it. If you know it's making a comeback, that's when you put precautions back into place, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. There is a fire burning in Southern California, Santa Clarita. It's called the Agua Fire. It has grown 7 times larger during the overnight. The now 421-acre wildfire is burning in Soledad Canyon, west of the city of Acton. Fire crews dealing with steep terrain, difficult to access. Soledad Canyon Road is closed down. Currently, no evacuation orders in place, but you can see how this one's on a hillside and a canyon. It could be hard to get control of that. Well, it turns out, I'm going to show this picture because I just love it so much. It turns out that footage of Black Lives Matter protests have been quietly removed from Jason Aldean's latest video. Oops.
I
maybe it
heard
wasn't a good
about
idea.
that.
Slip that in there.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Washington Post was the first to report that the video for Aldean's country hit, Try That in a Small Town, is now 6 seconds shorter than when it was uploaded to YouTube earlier this month. The CMT pulled the video off the air after 3 days following complaints from the NAACP. So again, now the Black Lives Matter protest footage is gone.
Oh, all right.
People along Florida's Space Coast are preparing for the rumble of SpaceX Falcon, a heavy rocket launch either late tonight or Thursday. This triple-core rocket will blast off from Kennedy Space Center, carrying the largest communications satellite ever built. After the launch, the rocket booster lands at Cape Canaveral, are expected to cause sonic booms across central Florida. And lastly, and I don't have a Barbie picture, but you know what she looks like, so we don't need it. Scammers are cashing in on the Barbie mania. Cyber
Okay.
criminals have been taking advantage of the hype to launch a wave of online scams to deceive customers. Be careful what you click on for Barbie. Software security firm McAfee claims to have documented 100 new instances of malware with Barbie-related file names in the last 3 weeks alone. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Scammers will always scam.
They'll get you.
There you go.
This show is crowdfunded. That
It
means
is.
that we rely on you to help us keep the lights on. You'll find the Patreon and PayPal links at theNikkiMedoroShow.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Yes, and please, we really do depend on those monthly donations. It's just one time that you pay each month. So whatever you could afford, we really, really do appreciate it. TheNikkiMedoroShow.com. A reminder that a week from yesterday, Tuesday, August 1st, this show is moving to the morning. We will be on around 9 to 11, then Mark from 11 to 1, and then Kim is going to host the After Party Live with John Daly from 1 until 2. Somebody in the comments was also wondering if you were going to still do news. We may kind of change a little bit of it, but yeah, there's still going to be news. We talk about them. That's what we do on these shows. So yeah, that's still going to be part of it, and it's not going to be too different, but it's going to be a good time. So make sure you're subscribed. I'm telling you, by the end of the day, you better have that $1,000 or $1,000 subscribers.
I'll take $1,000 and
too.
1,000
There you go.
subscribers. We're currently at 948. So
so close.
It's so close. Thank you guys for subscribing. It's super easy, and I'll throw that link in the chat one more
There it
time
is.
so you can just click on it, click subscribe. Huge thank you for putting me over
Exactly.
at that 1,000 mark if you can.
You guys are such a huge supporter to myself, to Mark, to Kim. So we got to keep it up. We want to grow our communities, all of them. And so I'm so happy that Kim's doing this, but we definitely need to have those subscribers. And yeah, I should have bet you. I should have bet you money. I know you're going to have 1,000 by the end of today. You will.
Yeah.
You will. You will. Okay. Who wants to see a naked lady shooting a gun on the freeway?
I want to see a naked lady.
Insane in the membrane. Look, dude, I'm telling you, I don't know what I would do. So this was yesterday during rush hour traffic. It was around 4:45. This was on the eastbound lanes near the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, eastbound 80, near the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. Someone calls 911 saying a reckless driver was flashing a gun. Talk about burying the lead. Not just a reckless driver, a naked one. So this is video. Now there's going to be bad language in this. In addition, I would be saying the same thing these guys are, though. In addition to the naked lady, there's going to be some bad language. So just brace yourselves, people, and deal with it. Okay. So here is video from one of the cars that was literally right there. Here we go. So they're in traffic.
Oh yeah, fuck the car, bro. Oh shit. Holy shit! He is shooting.
There in the right of the video, you'll see it. So the van's kind of blocking it right there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see this person walking in the middle.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah,
Oh my
I think
God.
I'd say the
Oh my
same
God.
thing.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Look, just fire a gun.
It's a lady.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Bro.
What are you gonna do?
What the fuck?
At least
Firing a gun. Now, whatever.
she ran out.
She ran out?
Yeah, the gun's
Holy shit, dude.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yep. I would say literally quote for word, I would be saying exactly what that guy was saying. insane. What would you
if
do?
If you were there and you were like the car and right behind her like that, and you're close to her and you've got your kids in the car and this lady is obviously
I'd be like, get down. And I would be rushing through. I'd be driving straight.
100%.
And if you get in front of my car, sorry. Like,
Right.
no, I'm out. I am
That's
so
right.
freaking out. No. Okay. So then on that note, I don't mean to giggle. That woman needs help. Obviously. That woman totally needs help. Oh, come on. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is another video of I would be doing and saying the exact same thing. I love this woman. She's kind of like my spirit animal because I would do the exact same thing. This happened, I believe, this morning in the Oakland Hills near Skyline and Keller. And again, another headline that really doesn't help Bay Area impressions with people. But watch this woman and these guys attempt to carjack her. And it's just, I owe this all to people having cameras in their cars, front facing, which is insane. But watch this video. This woman's just driving along. Listen to some nice music. And there's a Dodge Charger in front of her. It's a white car. They're driving in the Oakland Hills, right? He's starting to slow down a little bit. And then he pulls over and she tries to get around him. And then he pulls in front of her. Come on, Mom.
Uh-oh. No.
Watch. And he gets out, points a gun at her.
No.
Just takes off. Hell yeah, lady. Like, bye. Yeah, she's just gone. I'm telling you, it takes a bit of huevos,
That's so
it takes some balls to do
scary
something
because
like
look,
that.
she's looking. There's nobody on the roads out there.
No.
It's kind of, she's by herself with these guys. That would scare the holy crap out of me.
I mean, thank God her window was up, right? I just love, like, you didn't really hear because we were kind of talking, but she's like, "What the f is this?" like blocking. You're like, "What the hell is this?" Not thinking that somebody and the thing that blows my mind is these guys are in front of her. So they're like looking behind her, probably realize there's nobody on the road, like you just mentioned. Like, hey, let's carjack this chick. Like, a-holes. I hate people like this. I'll use the H word. Like, people like this are what make our world an ugly place. Like, just keep your own freaking car, work a little bit, make your own damn money, buy your own vehicle, stop pulling a gun on everybody. You're the problem with this
They were
freaking
very
world.
strategic in where they did it, though, because you saw those like cone things sticking up. Like maybe you could damage your car if you drove over them. But she
Right.
just went for it. I mean, you
Oh,
have a bigger car
absolutely.
like that, you might as well just go for it.
Exactly. And it's so I don't know. It's just a sad state of affairs when stuff like this happens. It's so annoying. It really, really
I
is.
would have been afraid that they would open fire on me. Like, I would have
Yes,
been
and shot through
really
my window.
scared.
Apparently they did fire a shot, but it didn't hit her. Because the first thing I was thinking was like, as he's coming towards me, like slam on the gas and go towards him. But they're just gonna fire a shot right through her windshield. I don't think they expected her to hit the gas. That's crazy though. It's crazy.
What's smarter in that situation? Doing what she did, which is like flooring it and going around them no matter what the obstacles are, or
Yes.
throwing it in reverse and going
Never in
really
reverse.
fast.
No,
No?
never reverse. No.
No?
You're still in because you're still in their line of sight. I mean, yeah, they could turn around and shoot at you, but at least they're shooting behind you. And everything that I've learned from movies is the back window goes out first and you're not hit. So I've learned all about gunfights from movies. And so apparently that's just going to hold up in my reality. But no, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
And who
so
has a video camera
thankfully
in their
she's survived.
car rolling tape 24/7?
A lot of people nowadays.
Do they really?
I feel like it's a protection in case of accidents, right? So if you get in an accident, you have proof. I know motorcyclists often do it, but it's not just back cameras, it's front cameras. Makes me want one, in all honesty.
Yeah.
SF Tesla says police tell you the windshield can deflect a bullet. Whether that's true, it's up to you. Yeah, and Karen, you're right. Who would have time to think? It's instinct. I mean, the fact that she said, "Oh," I mean, we can't see her, but she just was like, "Oh," and then just took off. I would do the same thing.
Can you
I would
play it
just-
again? Do we have time for it again?
Of course we have time. Are you kidding? We always have time for it again. Here it is.
I'm looking at her thinking, okay, what would I do? Would I do the same thing?
I think that I would have to do the exact same thing. I mean, what other option do you roll down your window? Obviously not. Here it is. I love the music too. Listen. I listen to something like country ass music. Okay, here he goes. And they cut
Come on
her off.
now, quit fucking around.
Quit effing around.
No.
No.
Ah!
I can watch that thing on replay all day. Yeah, and then just takes off. Yeah, insane. Absolutely insane.
I wonder if they gave chase at all.
Well, I think it was Henry Lee with KTVU.
Mhm.
He's the one that video came from, who got the dash cam video. And he says the would-be armed carjacker banged on the driver's side window, but did not fire shots. The woman drove around the Dodge Charger near Skyline. This is per Oakland police. I don't understand. Like, it just seems stupid. I don't understand criminals, I guess.
It just happened
Thankfully.
so fast too. I mean,
Yeah.
they were out of their car and banging on her window and like that.
Yep, exactly. I don't know if this is true, but Karen says insurance will give you a discount, I think, if you have cameras on your car.
Oh,
That's a
I
good
didn't
reason
know
to do
that.
it.
Yeah.
You know? So now with everything that happens nowadays, and you know what? As much as people are filming us without us knowing about it, from license plate readers, which passed in Berkeley and everything,
Yeah.
you might as well get your own cameras to protect yourself. So there you go. And they can come in handy to solve crimes. Absolutely. So yeah. I'm very glad that and I believe with the woman in traffic that was naked, I don't think anybody was hurt. I believe nobody was hurt in that. But
They
yeah.
said she was firing into the air, but it looked kind of like
She looked like she was pointing it at the beginning on to the left when she was looking left, like straight across.
it was
That's
not
crazy.
up in the air enough for me. And of course, what goes up has to come down too. So that's dangerous.
Exactly.
But it looked like it was, more of a this way firing, not a this way firing.
Yeah.
That could have been.
And
all
she had a
kinds of
knife. I mean,
awful.
obviously she's having a mental breakdown. This woman was not in her right mind. And I'm not trying to make light of it.
Isn't that great though, that people that aren't in their right mind can get guns in this country?
It's amazing. I mean, she also had a knife on her. And again, it's like the guy that was that's in prison or jail or whatever for those stabbings up near UC Davis. They're saying he's not mentally competent to stand trial. And so
Right.
what's going to happen? They're recommending putting him in a mental institution. Where?
Napa State.
But it's just like there's not enough mental institutions. There's not enough staff for me to feel safe that this guy's not just going to go through some lax ass program and come out and get naked and fire guns at people. I've lost all faith in that sort of rehabilitation unless there's a major investment. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane.
I ask myself, is that the kind of place where I want to live? Is this the country I want to live in, where I can be driving down the road, minding my own business, and all of a sudden there's a guy banging on my door telling me get out with a gun in his
Exactly.
hand?
You know?
Or I'm driving on the Bay Bridge, which every single one of us in the Bay Area has driven in that stretch of roadway.
Well, of course.
Any one of us at any time could have been a victim of this. And then you have some crazy person with a gun, or, also a crazy person with a gun, some, gang shooting or whatever kind of shooting on a freeway where little kids have been impacted by that. So I
Yep.
just, what are we doing?
Yeah. And that's it's a great transition to the last thing that I wanted to talk about today. It's a really sad story, but just as you're saying, it's like, do I even want to live in a society like this anymore? Right? I mean, how do we solve this? It's not solvable. Everyone's nuts, right? The political discourse, everything. Did you see this story out of Colorado where two sisters and a teenage son moved to a Colorado campsite last July because the one woman, Rebecca Vance, said she wanted to get out of this chaotic and dangerous world. Apparently, she was telling all of her family that she had been discouraged by the state of the world. And so she wanted to live off the grid. She thought she was protecting her son, the teenage boy that went, and her sister Christine, who went because she was worried and said, you need extra hands to do this. Their 3 decomposed bodies were found in at this Colorado campsite because they died of exposure and malnutrition. I don't think they knew that the winter was going to be as harsh as it was. And they did not have the means and the skill to live. A hiker found the body of one of the family members July 9th, just before 5. Authorities found the other 2 bodies the next morning. They could not be immediately identified because they were so decomposed. The only food found at their shelter was a single package of ramen. But apparently, yeah, this woman convinced her sister and her son. Yeah, Deidre, they were burning fires inside their tent. They were so cold. They were going to the bathroom like right outside the tent, which showed people that found them like obviously they didn't want to go too far out because they were that cold. I mean, that's the extreme that can happen to some people. They could turn on the news, they could step outside, they get yelled out, they see naked people shooting at their car. They're like, I'm leaving, dude. But living off the grid ain't all it's cracked up to be. So you got to be really, really careful.
You have to. I think if you're going to go do something like that, you have to have read a lot of books. You have to have the right gear. You may even have to take a survival class. You have to go test out the waters and make sure you can handle it. Like this isn't something you just go, I'm going to go to the wilderness and live off the grid.
Right.
You have to have a real plan, right?
What was that movie? I'm Googling it as you're talking. No. What was that movie where that kid, it was a true story. The guy. Yes. What was the name of that movie? They made a movie and a book about it. And he did that. And he did a lot of reading and research. And then he got screwed because he mixed up one plant that you could eat with
he ate
another
the wrong
plant.
kind of plant.
Yeah.
That's the name of that movie. Someone in
That was a good
chat will know.
movie. I liked that movie. I like that actor too that played him. But yeah, it's just one of those things where you think you can live off the land. It could seem exciting.
Live or Alive or something like that.
What was his name? Come on, people. I know you guys know what it is. Somebody else. Into the Wild. Thank you, Deidre. Into the Wild. Really good movie if you haven't seen it, by the way. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, another person, real life, and that bus saved him, and then the water and everything, and then he was out there forever. He couldn't. What was it? Was it a bear or a moose or something? He was trying to kill. He killed and wasn't able to preserve the meat. It's not easy. There's a reason why we develop things like refrigeration and heat and things like that. But yeah, it's a great book. Never saw the movie. Deidre says I haven't read the book. I've only watched the movie. I should read the book then.
There's a reason why
really
we
good.
collectively live in societies, right?
Yes,
Where
exactly.
we can, create these allegedly safe places for each other, where we
Mhm.
share the cost of roads and we share the cost of security and we share the cost of fire protection and we share all these costs and we have all these things set up. That's why we're living together in these cities, right? Otherwise, what's the point?
We're on our own. And some people want to be on their own and have the skills, but it's hard. It's really, really hard to do that. And I already know. No. I watch these survivalist shows with my husband because he loves them. All I say throughout the whole entire thing is nope. I'm not doing any of that.
Have you
Nope, just
seen
like Ron.
that Naked and Afraid? Nick,
Oh yeah, no. Oh
like,
God, the
absolutely
bugs
not.
going up your hoo-ha and into your no. No.
Not for any amount of money. Thank you very much. Yeah.
And some of them don't even do it for money. Some of these crazy people are like, I just want the experience. Like, no. I'm a no on that.
I
Ron
really
writes in college, I did an Army FTX in the mountains of New Mexico in the snow. Nope. That's for someone else.
I really like the show Survivor. And my husband laughs at me, and he'll say, that's not a survivor. Real survivor would be, they're not giving you a pot of rice and clean water.
Nothing dropping
that's
you.
not survivor. We're going to make sure nobody dies. So
Exactly. One final thing, just kind of on this note of building cities and kind of being off the grid for a bit. Tomorrow is 1 month until Burning Man. Have you ever wanted to do Burning Man, Kim?
Not even once.
I would like to go just to experience it.
In a hot, gritty desert with naked people smoking pot, high looking at art. That is absolutely not where I'm headed.
The only part that I don't particularly like is the dust. I would go to Burning Man in a heartbeat if there was a water source. If there was some place to refresh myself.
Yeah.
Mud, dust storms, that doesn't look like my cup of tea. Apparently, because I have a lot of friends that have gone multiple times, and they've said going in an RV is really the only way to go because of the elements and the snow, the sandstorms and everything like that. Yeah. Well, if you're going to go, Burning Man has one message. Don't be a dick. Burning Man says they will allow e-bikes, well, there's concerns about e-bikes because when you're on an e-bike, I don't know if you guys have experience, you obviously can go much faster. And so they're like, you should have a top limit. You can't go very far or very fast, pardon me. That must have a top rate speed of 20 miles per hour. You can't have more than a 750 watt motor. Violators will have their vehicles impounded, I guess. So, they have some sort of policing happening out there. Right. So if you're going to do that, and don't junk the place, because like people just bring all this art and bikes and then just leave it there. And it's insane. Deidre said, I would love to go, but I'm too old at 57. No, you're not. I know so many people that are older than that go. Sounds fun, except for the dust. Bring an RV with a shower, Nikki. Exactly. I would go. I would need an RV, but I still want water. When I am camping and I'm at a festival that's like this, I want to float. I want to float in the sun. I don't want to be all dusty and gross and not have a place to rinse off. I guess an RV would be okay. I guess I'll do it. All right, let me give some thank yous to Ms. Organic came in with a $10 super sticker. Sam, nice. Love seeing you in the chat, and thank you so much for the $10 donation. Yes, for 1,000 subscribers. You're asking yourself if you just joined us, what is the 1,000 subscribers? It is for the after party. The after party with Kim McAllister and John Daly starts Tuesday, August 1st. And so I've just found out my schedule. I made sure that the first day I will be on here the morning of. So August 1st, we're all going to be here. Many of you know I also have another job in San Francisco. So some of the days I will not be here, but Kim McAllister and John Daly will every day do the after party after my show, after Mark's show. Deidre, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. You are so awesome. Thank you so much. We depend on it. We really, really do, you guys. If you can become a Medorable, join the cool club, donate to our Patreon, thenikkimedoroshow.com. TheNikkiMedoroShow.com is our Patreon link. Our PayPal links are there as well. We love the monthly donations, though, through Patreon because we can depend on that every month. And if you could bump up your donation, I love you even more. Also, again, I'm looking for Medorable designs. I'm trying to create one. I'm not very artistic. I'm just not very artistic. I'm just going to say it just like that. So if you guys have any ideas.
You created the show logo and it's pretty cute.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get ideas for what the Medorable should look like. I want it to be different than this.
Okay.
Right? I want this to be a little, I don't know, cuter, like the Cool Club, right? Because, that's my thinking. So what you guys think of, maybe, I'm thinking bubble letters, but I don't know. So anybody has an idea, there's the PayPal email and my email to reach me, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. You can check out the merchandise. We have a ton of merchandise. I want to put Medorable merchandise up there as well. And so, yes, make sure you subscribe to the after party. Be back here tomorrow. I appreciate you all. And until then, bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.